Hey, this is Tiger. Welcome to my stream. Good evening, guys, for our very low-key stream for unboxing the HST Farewell Pack, the high-speed train class 43 CD Radar. Really, I got an ad for Jeske Drahi before stream. That is cool. Now we can have the bets on. Is it because of what you watch or what I'm constantly mentioning in my streams? At any rate, a great evening. Dobru večer to you. No, dobre večer to you. And let me turn on the DLC marker. Akura, more in British stuff again. Yes. Today I won't bore you with any train families or presentations. I will just unbox the HST Farewell pack that was released earlier this week. To conclude, maybe a flurry of DLCs that have been released since beginning of March or even end of February. And maybe we will now be able to catch some breath or play even some Simrail in between. Nevertheless, thanks to DTG, I have gotten all the DLCs for free, what is very nice of them. For being an ambassador, so I have to disclose that I've got the keys for free. Nevertheless, they are not buying my opinion. My opinion is still my own. And ZD Raider Whelp 147 got me back to the train sim world, I guess. Yeah, it is a really nice to drive locomotive, the 147, that tracks through, that we discussed last week. I got the video on YouTube just 2 hours before the stream today, I guess. So if you want to get my presentation about the tracks family and how the 147 fits into it, it's now on YouTube, in case you missed the stream last week. Today we are in Britain and we are running one of the most iconic trains in history, the class 43 power cars in the high-speed trains. The DLC actually distributes between two routes, the Great Western Express, where it has 3 scenarios and its own journey mode, Farewell HST, where you can learn driving the HST if you have never done it before. And then there is Back in Blue, Open Day, and I think one more scenario here, Farewell, where you drive those beautiful trains around. You get 7 different liveries that are associated with this. My favorite is the Intercity Swallow DLC livery that is also in it. And yeah, that is the stuff on the Great Western Railway, what in my opinion is always a bit yeah, low-key, because as soon as you're out of Paddington with your high-speed trains, you typically just run at maximum speed until you stop at Reading again. Nevertheless, after the remaster, a beautiful route to drive at any rate, and not choose a route but rail journeys. The other one is the Riviera line. I actually have not looked into the stuff that comes for the Riviera line, and there is Farewell HST, 9 items. There is Down by Dawlish scenario, and then Riviera Rescue. Use a set of Class 43 power cars to rescue a failed HST during a snowstorm. An epilogue. 3 HST sets have arrived at Plymouth to mark the end of the service. Only 10 minutes for this epilogue. Connected with planes, Airshow. So I think this is the scenario that we're gonna play first, down by Dawlish. Yeah, interesting week apart from Train Sim World for DTG. We still have it in the splash screen here, the Metro Rivals was put on ice. You all know that. Would like to know your 2 cents about this. And even though I was not super fond of this game, I'm kind of sad that this happened, because it was really interesting to see Trains and World technology in a high-speed environment, or at least in a fast-paced environment in Unreal Engine 5. But apparently it did not fly. Down by Dawlish. Hello driver, it's a warm summer's day down in the West Country, and the crowds are out to take in the nice weather and enjoy the local airshow. Due to this, you should expect longer boarding times and a tighter schedule than usual on your journey from Paignton up to Exeter St. David's. Best hurry and hop on your train. So this is apparently our train. Let's hurry. See if we find a place where we can get across this track here. Probably we have to just step over it since we're in the yard. Might be acceptable. Now we have to set the junctions. Well, then let's do this by hand. More junctions to sit. That is not right. That one looks good in my opinion. And that one, oh yeah, there's still one that we need to set. Yes. Climb on board. Tight schedule, and then we have to set the switches on our own. This livery is so cute. Sit in the driver's seat. Master key to unlocked. Reverse it to neutral. And we can switch in the safety systems. Daylight, reverse it to forward. The radio is still the old version. Set the train brake to running. How fast can we go here? 15.
We are now approaching Paignton.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform, and take care when stepping down from the train.
Well, it's nice to have the announcement when we're just running out of the depot. This is why it is called the swallow. What's coming up here? Tender first. Only slightly faster than we are. Or even preparing to slow down. It's the slow traveling Scotsman. I would have preferred a cold start out of the yard, especially when you have to set the switches. Yes. I'm always for a cold start if you start at the yard, to be honest. I don't know why they don't do it. And there are so few occasions where you can actually go through the cold start procedure.
This is Paignton. This is a Great Western Railway service to Exeter St David's. The next station is Torquay.
A lot of people are getting on the train. It's actually not the Flying Scotsman, but anyway, tender first. Nice to have put them there to mimic the steam railway that is running on those tracks in Paignton. Some services are running behind today, so try and make up for any lost time if you are held up by another train.
The next station is Torquay. This is a Great Western Railway service to Exeter St David's.
Unfortunately, the ATP is still not working on the HST train. So from what I understand, this is all cosmetically changed models. But hey, gives us some excuse to run the Riviera line again. One of the most satisfying lines in my opinion. And we actually went too fast. Scraped the limit. Beaches.
We are now approaching Torquay.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform, and take care when stepping down from the train.
This is Torquay. This is a Great Western Rail.
The palm trees of Torquay.
The next station is Newton Abbot. This is a Great Western Railway service to Exeter St David's.
Don't forget we're starting under a yellow aspect. Those palm trees a little bit out of place. Well, I think this is one of the things that Torquay is famous for. Now we have to start up the hill. Not stopping at any station before we get to Newton Abbot. The famous palm trees of Torquay. But not forget, we started under caution. So when we are supposed to make up some time, make up for lost time, then always heeding the caution so that we don't run a red signal, because who wants to spad? So much for my route knowledge. There is a 30 limit. It's not a loop line, but it is a general 30 limit for the station. And then increasing to 45 when we're out. Now we're circling this hill with the engine house on the left side, up on the hill behind the trees, for Kingdom Brunel's atmospheric railway caper. At least I think it was here. The one that you can see from the Lidl's parking lot. Here it is, actually, the chimney. Now we can accelerate to, what was it, 60? There was so much. Grass in the way. Before we get to the junction and have to aim for Newton Abbot. Don't know about you guys, but every time I play a route after a couple of months, my route knowledge is always like whoosh. Hidden underneath a layer of rubble. And we're still running under caution, right? Same for me, Sakura. We got started by a yellow light on Torquay. And if I'm not mistaken, we have not passed the signal since. Now we're running up to one, and it is luckily it is green, otherwise it would have been annoying. So you have to pay to get a train. That's already in the game. Well, yeah. You're obviously not paying for the train, but you're paying for the liveries. Just like with other livery DLCs before. And you're paying for the gameplay content, like the scenarios and the additional services and the additional journey modes. Liveries and services, exactly. Limit to 55 for the Junction, later on then to 40, what was announced with the Morpeth board. To the left, the line from Plymouth. We're going to Newton Abbot platform 1. That means we're going into the loop line, if I'm not mistaken. So prepare to slow down. Well, and again I missed the limit. And okay, maybe I'm the weird one, the CD radar, but who on earth would pay for that? People who want delivery, you know, want to run the trains in this livery and who want the scenarios and the gameplay pack for it. Can I sell my radar livery? Yeah.
Newton Abbot.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform, and take care when stepping down from the train.
Well, you can always ask for being accepted as a third-party developer, and then you definitely can do that. You probably have to get the licensing done with HST. If the color scheme is too close to what they are running in real life.
Newton Abbot. This is a Great Western Railway service to Exeter St David's. The next station is Teignmouth.
I mean, if someone were to sue me, it would probably be Arriba's the city, right? Well, you can always try. Who sues first? And there is no limit of people and entities that can sue you. So there was only the limit to 40, no further limit. Well, after one or two runs, route knowledge typically comes back, but until then, I'm always too late. And then I see the sign and think, ah yeah, this is where the sign was. This is where the speed limit drops. At one point I have to give you, I'm always a fan if livery packs come with a certain refresh of the train in itself. And as it seems, this has not been done. So 60 until we passed the racetrack here. Oh shit, there was another switch. So no 60 until we pass the racetrack. Not before we are on the left track, obviously. Now that we passed the racetrack. We can hope for a higher limit. And here it is. This at least is a significant section of track that we can go faster. Until we get closer to Teignmouth. Here alongside the Pin estuary. That purplish body of water to our right. Two from the opposite direction. That was the DSD. Announcing the 80. No, we did not even make it beyond the 80. Announcing the 60. 60 is around the corner. 80 is here just behind the signal. And then the stop at Teignmouth. Here's the 60. Still 0.8 miles to go.
now approaching Teignmouth.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform, and take care when stepping down from the train.
We're not stopping at the floating sign, but at
This is
the
Teignmouth.
sign at the
This
end
is
of the
Great
platform.
Western Railway.
Just like the class 800. The famous floating sign of Teignmouth. What's a nice touch is that actually the windows are always opened on the HST trains because of this funny thing that if you want to open the door from the inside, you always have to open the window and then use the handle on the outside. So open doors always mean open windows. What's all famous on this route? Amazing. And I closed my famous windows too early. There's a passenger blocking the train from departing. Wait for the station staff to move them out of the way and whistle that all is clear. Is it you? Are you the station staff? No. Wait for the passenger to be moved. This is the way of moving the passenger, blowing your horn at him or her. Now she has been moved. We can go. Look at that plane. For the Airshow. case you wondered, there was a little stretch where we could accelerate beyond the 60, but now we have to be back to the 60 in the tunnels before we get to Dawlish.
We are now approaching Dawlish.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform, and take care when stepping down from the train.
This is Dawlish. This is a Great Western Railway service to Exeter St David's.
The seagulls. And the plane is coming back. Yeah. At least the plane you did not have before this DLC.
The next station is Exeter St David's. This is a great...
Alright, we're not stopping until we get to Exeter St. David's anymore, so we're passing Dawlish Warren. almost missed the Voyager. Back to 60 at this point for passing Dawlish Warren. Now we can finally go a bit faster. 80 across Starcross, through Starcross, and then afterward even faster. No CDM radar, there is no presentate for today. Presentate. Today it is just unboxing, driving, chilling. Starcross. Sub 2 hours, probably. Depends on what kind of scenario we're getting for the Great Western Railway remastered part. But that was what I was planning, yeah. Sub 2 hours. So, how are you all? How is life going? What's new? Well, I'm super knackered today, if I may start with that. Since I took AJ's horsey into the woods for the first time. He has never been out in the open, only riding in the ring and the riding hall, and today I was supposed to take him into the woods for the first time to see what he does when he's out in the woods. It was quite nice, but it was, well, exhausting for me. So I slept most of the afternoon. And I'm still rather knackered. Concerning my streaming schedule, we will have to see what will be possible in the weeks and months to come. Probably not that many presentations, maybe some breaks even. That's actually very interesting. The horse in the woods. Yep. Taking a horse out in the open world is always a very interesting experience, but in my opinion it requires a lot of focus, because you always need to pay attention what the horse is doing, how the horse is reacting to things. But it always makes you so super calm after horseback riding in the woods. Even when it is raining as it was today. Oh, I actually missed our 100 sign. Horse in forest can be dangerous, I guess he says. Yeah, it can be. Horseback riding is always a quite dangerous thing, and in the forest there are a lot of things that you cannot control. You never know who you might encounter, if it is a mountain bike, if it is a preambulator, if it is a person with an umbrella, and you never know what the horses, well, are scared of and get confused by. And if you know your horse, then it's a different story, but taking him for the first time, you really have to check out everything and be prepared for the horse getting anxious or trying to run away. So you need to be gentle and thoughtful and watch out a lot. And Aqua says he got a new terrace and fence this week, was exhausting. Next to my regular work. Oh yeah, I can imagine. So chilling on the Riviera line is a relaxing end of the week. With a chilled iced drink in my hand. Yeah. Oh yeah, I can imagine those construction thingies around the home. So we're going to the left, they said. That means we're probably slowing down to 15. Yeah, we're actually doing that. They expect us to slow down to 15 when entering the loop. Which is 20 here, and the next thing it says 15 to go even further to the left. So 20 it is for us. And the radar is happy that the frosts are finally over. We'll be able to spend evenings outside by the fire. Ah. Oh yeah. That sounds cozy. If you have a place that is not infested by mosquitoes too much. So one more yard train and then we are done. One run to recover track knowledge, route knowledge on the Riviera line with our intercity swallow. Livery Class 43 power car. Nice work making it to Exeter St. David's on time. Now shut down the train to finish the service. Okay. We can do that. Set the reverser to engine off. Set the headlights to taillights. Maybe we set the master key to locked. But we're not turning off the engines. Let's see how you did out there today. So do you have a... Look at that. That was my track knowledge slowly coming back. So do you have a place, a fireplace, where you can sit at? Or are you talking about a nice rock by the lake with an open campfire next to it? Or a fire bowl at your neighbor's yard where people convene after dark to share the stories of life, the universe, and all the rest. I found a dog shelter that takes care of Czechoslovakian wolf dogs, and now I got there regularly to walk them. Ah, yes. It makes me extremely happy, plus I help a good cause. Yes, and it is a good exercise on top of it. Czechoslovakian wolf dogs. Are they easy to handle? Does not sound like it, right? Still asking. And yeah. I'm really impressed because that is really helping a good cause. Walking the poor doggos from the shelter. So, let's see what we can do on the Great Western Railway. Back in blue, drive the newly painted Class 43 power car to London Paddington and prepared for its first passenger service. Open day, take part in the Old Oak Common Depot open day and unveil the new livery for the Class 43 power car. Or farewell, drive one of the final Great Western Railway high-speed train services out of Paddington. Let's do this, huh? Farewell. The advantage is that they are trained very well. They are very obedient even with strangers. So they are trained by the shelter. That is really cool. I'm afraid in our shelters, people don't really have a lot of time working with the animals. So they are more or less left to their own devices. Paddington. Hello and welcome to Paddington Station. Today is the 18th of May 2019, the last time a scheduled HST service will leave Paddington Station. There are 4 HST sets ready to depart any moment now, each one. You have the privilege of deciding which service you will like to drive out of the last 4. When you have decided, head over to the railway journalist who will ask you about the service you picked. You have a few minutes to decide. Decide which service you want and talk to the content creator. Where is she? The content creator? Ah, here she is. Joff, I've heard you will be driving one of the HST out of Paddington today. Can you tell me which is yours? The second service and the final. The final one. It is Geoff Marshall, the city radio, so you know him. With Sir Kenneth Grange at the end. Okay, now they called me up, he says. And Acura looked Czechoslovakian wolf dogs. When they are beauties. But I'm still not paying. Well, before I got an ambassador, I was always happy to pick up. So where is DLCs that I did not buy at day 1 at the sale? So this is always a thing. At some point, set the headlights to daylight. And Marcus. Safety systems. And then Dorio. So this is virtually the last HST service ever to leave Paddington Station. Look what we have here. A Litty Line train. And City Radar says, I've been following Geoff for so long, he introduced me to the London Tube, and it was mainly because of him that I learned about Trains in World 2 and started playing it after you watched the video. Oh, that's amazing. As usually, I don't know people. You're all clear, enjoy the drive and make the most. If you see any rail fans, why not sound the horn? So we are allowed to sound the horn.
The next station is Reading. This is a Great Western Railway service to Taunton.
With 40 we're starting. Then we got a yellow. Just when we pass the 50 sign. That means I have to pay a bit of attention and can't do so many external shots. Because we still don't want to spat. They only got a yellow for us this time. preliminary junction indicator told us that we're going straight ahead, what is good. There are more magnets. I don't know if that means that we're approaching another signal. Probably not. Ah yeah. Now we got a double yellow and the green. That means whatever was running around in our track has left it. Here we can accelerate to 100. We're being a multiple unit. Now we're getting some rain. Where are the wipers on this train here? And the description says that the scripted dynamic weather in the scenarios is actually the weather that was actually happening on this day in the year 2019. So the weather is historically correct, or is supposed to be historically correct. That was a rail fan. UK Schenker or DB Schenker UK freight trains. So as long as we're not getting any adverse signals, we can run with full speed of 125 miles per hour until we get to Reading. We caught the Lizzie train again. By the way, obviously my DLC marker was wrong since we switched from the Riviera line to the Great Western Express. And I managed to change it without getting problems with my vigilance device. I always like passing this depot here, because at every time of day and night you can look into the depot and see what they are doing with the trains there. Unfortunately, there's no window that we can open. Okay. Double yellow. Still double yellow. Here the junction for Heathrow. And we're getting a single yellow. No, double yellow still. Probably can turn off the wiper again. And we're clear again. Again, not a single rail fan here. Now in the part where we already have gantries and stuff for the overhead catenary, but no overhead catenary yet. It switched between the magnet and the signal. But that means we can just coast. We're 5 seconds early, yes. I use this CD radio similar scenarios also in liveries. There's also a farewell scenario, right? What I really liked in liveries is this one scenario where you have to make sure that your motors don't overheat in summer. That was super interesting in my opinion. I don't think that I played this on stream, no. You have to actually actively cool your motors by having them run at a certain speed without any load. When running downhill or on level ground. So, do not be 5 seconds early again. You might just want to coast a bit. Yeah, 15 kilometers and about 7 minutes left. Kilometers. Nonsense, miles obviously. Mile, yeah. You are correct. And there are my double yellows again. There's no point in trying to pick up some speed. So we can just coast along. Saving the engines that are going to be thrown away tomorrow anyway. Now we're in the clear again. Sir Dick B, hi, finally I'm able to watch you live again. So nice to see you on the chat. How are you? I would like to see you play the running on vapor scenario on the Maidenhead. I was even thinking about using my points for it, but I don't want to force you into it. I think you even said you don't have the map. Maidenhead? No, I actually had the Maidenhead already when I was still playing on the Epic Game Store and before I became an ambassador. So running on vapors. There are a couple of scenarios of this kind in the game where you, even for the Riviera line, there is a running on vapors scenario, but the one on the Maidenhead I might not have played. I keep this on the list. Maybe we can do this actually quite soonishly. There was finally a guy with a camera again. So when we are closing into Reading, only 11 miles to go still. But we're overtaking. This 166 train on the relief line while we are traveling on the fast line. And now that we have seen a couple of greens in a row, we might want to accelerate a bit again, because we might be a bit late actually. Ten miles in 3 minutes. This does not look too good. If I'm running 120, then I'm going 2 miles per minute, right? So this is close to my maximum speed, and everything below is obviously slower. We are a high-speed train, so let's show what we can do as a city radar. Yes. But then I'm getting double yellows again. Now I have 2 minutes left and I have 8.8 miles to go. That will probably not work out. But let's run those engines into the ground, because they are getting thrown away tomorrow anyway. And we're getting the 70 limit announced already. Alright, you engines, that saves you. Is it also for multiple units that we have to slow down to 70 at this point? Nah, it is not. We can actually power on a bit more. Oh, the company management called and said you were supposed to arrive late so they could show that the new trains were supposed to be faster and that the overpriced contract was actually a good deal. I see, this is why they are constantly slowing me down with yellows. Then all the more we have to speed up for transparency, for the truth. and for the railways of this world. It is only to the right that multiple units are slowed down to 70. Okay, now we are officially late. 7 seconds, 8 seconds, and still 6.2 miles to go. But what a beautiful weather we are having. Never mind the new train got stuck on the route due to a software update, so reputation saved. So, last 5 miles to go. And we probably have to burn whatever is left in terms of fuel in our tanks. I can see the white bend to the right that announces that we are actually closing in on Reading. Now we're actually getting speed limits, at least soonish. I think to 85 it is for us before we get closer. Get ready for Reading. You name it. Those are actually the last 2 miles officially of an Class 43 high-speed train running on an official schedule. At least in the game. In real life they probably went further. Here's the MEU to 95 it is. And now we're getting a single yellow. No, it's improved to a double yellow, but never mind. We're probably going across switches when we're running into Reading anyway. Average speed train suits it more this time, I think. Well, yeah. Yes, after this scenario, the game will be uninstalled automatically. The trains will be sold to Porterbrook or Angel trains automatically, and we can only use them in the game if we pay our leases to them.
We are now approaching Reading.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform, and take care when stepping down from the train.
$50. Okay, we can manage 50. Yeah, sorry as it is. This is the last arrival of a train of this kind. They can remove the stop markers with the HST. Because there won't be another HST anymore.
This is Reading. This is a Great Western Railway service to
CD Radar says
The
after
next
these events
station
with
is
historic or otherwise interesting vehicles, the funniest are always the ordinary passengers who have no idea what's going on and are just going somewhere. Yes, and I typically belong to those passengers because I usually do not have the slightest idea what is going on when I'm anywhere. So let's have a snack and a newspaper. Train stock arises again.
This is a security announcement.
Welcome to Reading. We have another driver who will be driving the rest of the journey from here. Shut down the cab and prepare to hand over the controls.
The next station is Swindon. This is a Great Western Railway service to Taunton.
Let's see how we did. Well, no speeding this time. Guys, I put my DRA. You did not pay attention. You can watch it on YouTube. I actually put it before switching off the safety systems. Maybe I can show you. No, I cannot go back into this scenario. I cannot go back into free roam. You put it late. Okay. Well, I had to wait for the scenario things to tell me what to do. I put it really late, you're right. I should have put it as soon as we arrived before using the external camera. That's actually in the in the rules before a driver is supposed to use any external camera of any kind. They should put always the DRA. Yeah, what is it today with with people who want to sell viewers? They think I want to buy viewers just because I have so few viewers in my channel. Nevertheless, guys, I'm so happy about you joining me. We will see what we can do next week. Maybe I will look into this running on view scenario and see where this is going. Actually, I won't have so much time in the next maybe 3 months because I have to work through a big chunk of work. Yeah, and I don't know what is happening in the game anyway. So if there is something like the Tadami line, obviously, then I will dig into the Japanese signaling. But maybe we will have some more of the relaxed, Be Real or whatever streams. Don't worry about it. These are just bots. Yep. Woohoo, Tadami line, maybe. Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to that and other things. The thing that they closed down their Metro Rivals thing is still lingering in a weird way in my brain. We will have to congest this and see where this is going. This is some kind of well, behavior that I don't know what I have to make out of this. Throwing out a flurry of DLCs to a week, shutting down Metro Rivals at the time when it should be clear that their minds is on Train Sim World 7 and we will be in Train Sim World 7 at the time. I can talk freely about it because I have no clue what is going on behind the scenes there. And, well, at some point in time we will find out. Until then, we can just enjoy this beautiful game, the beautiful trains, and whatever comes with it. Thanks, guys, for staying with me. Have the greatest of weeks, and maybe we meet again next Sunday night. Bye-bye.